Hey, hi, hola, it's Miss Angie Nails, and this is going to be a tutorial on how to create your own homemade 3D nail molds. And I will be using the technique of silicone and cornstarch. Now, there are quite a few tutorials out there, and feel free to watch other ones and see all the tips and tricks that you can get from everyone. I have watched a few videos and I've made plenty of mistakes, and this is what works best for me. I do not like it to be messy. I have seen other videos where the person doing it is just, it's all over the place and it's a little too messy. I try to do it the cleanest route so I don't have any product on my hands and less cleanup for myself. So the materials that you're going to end up needing are regular cornstarch, which I just have in my container, my Tupperware container. The most important is you're going to need 100% silicone. This is for kitchen and bath. It doesn't matter on the brand. This is just found at your local hardware store. I bought mine at Menards, and the tubes are very, very inexpensive. This one is resealable, so it comes with this top here. Once you do start using it, it does become a little difficult to unclog the tube here, but that's why I will use my orange wood stick. And when you go to the store, the more inexpensive ones are going to be ones that are like in a longer tube, but you do need a caulking gun in order to push the silicone out. So I find that doing the molds, spending a little bit extra, the resealable ones work for me so far, and I've used this quite a bit, and you can see how much is left. Okay, so again, it is 100% silicone. I do have it in clear. You can also get it in white. Most people recommend clear. I've never tried the white, so this is what I have. Just make sure it's kitchen and bath, 100% silicone. Then you will need a piece of wax paper so your molds don't stick to anything and they're nice and smooth. I use a styrofoam plate just so there's not too much of a mess and the product doesn't stick to this and it's easy to clean up. Then I have my little utensil that I use, and this utensil here, this is just a basic like kitchen utensil that is used to like spread butter on bread, and I decided to use it, and I will not be using this for any type of kitchen utensil any longer. So yeah, I just use this in order to mix my concoction and not get it all over my hands. The less of a mess, the better. Okay, if you don't have that, if you have like an old spoon that you can use, or a butter knife or something, you know, I recommend something that's sturdy that will help you stir it. Again, I have my orange wood stick here, and then of course you need your 3D pieces that you want to mold. So today I'm going to do a variety of bows. When I create molds, as you will see, I try to utilize all of the product. Okay, some people use a lot of product and they put 1 or 2 items in there. I like to put as many as I can depending on how big I make it, because I want to utilize that space on my mold. I am a little OCD, so I like to organize my 3D pieces in a nice looking manner, and I also like to try to keep all the same type of nail art together. So again, I chose all different types of bows today, and that's what we're going to make. Now, those are the basic supplies that you will need for the regular white one, which you will see the steps. But since I have had requests for colored homemade bow 3D molds, I'm going to do that. And all you need to add is some cuticle oil, or even people have used vegetable oil or olive oil. You just need a little bit, and you need an acrylic paint. So this is just a water-based paint. I'm going to be using aqua and a pink today. I'm going to try to do 2 molds for this tutorial, 2 different colors. And I'm going to go ahead and set up, and we're going to start to do some homemade molds. One thing I do recommend is, with the silicone, it can become very sticky. You do not want to work the material too much and too hard, because it will stick to your hands. It does come off when you wash it, but you kind of have to scrape it, and it leaves a little bit of a weird feeling on your hands. So that's why we're going to use these utensils and try to get the least amount of mess on your hands. So I'm going to go ahead and set up, and we're going to try to do it. I do want to say that since I have been using the silicone, it may give me a hard time to squeeze some out. I do not use measurements. I just kind of do it by the eye. So hopefully you'll be able to see how much I do. I'll explain to the best of my ability, and hopefully you guys will be able to do some homemade molds. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up and get started. Okay, So to create the colored homemade molds, the first thing you want to do is create your color mixture. All you're going to do is take a little bit of cuticle oil, and I'm just using the cuticle oil from Sally's Super Nail, and I'm going to pour just a very little bit on my plate. Okay, what this is going to do is it's going to help keep the mixture pliable, and you will be able to work the mixture very well. So we're going to go ahead and start with some aqua. So I'm just using the acrylic paint by Apple Barrel, and all I'm going to do is just a couple of drops. Okay. With that, I'm going to go ahead and take an orange wood stick, and I'm just going to mix this up a little bit. Okay, you're going to see how it's going to separate a little bit, which is no problem. Okay, this will not mix well. If you need to add more, you can always add more, but this is the perfect amount. Okay, I guess you can omit that step actually. Then I'm going to take my silicone, and I'm going to go ahead and squeeze some out onto my plate. Okay, I have squeezed them out, and I'm going to try to show you how much I used. You can see it's like a nice pile. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my oil and my paint mixture, and I'm just going to roll it until I mix the paint. If you see that you need more paint, you can definitely add it. Okay, now the key is you don't want to touch the silicone because it is messy. Okay, so I'm just mixing it in there. Don't worry, it will become mixed better in the later steps. Okay, so I'm just mixing that. I just want to show you how it looks. So it's becoming mixed. Okay, if you want, you can always add a little bit more oil, but you really don't even need oil in the sense of creating just a white one. So I'm just adding like a couple of drops of oil. Mix that up. Okay, and I'm just like pressing on this mixture. Okay, that's how you're gonna have to work the silicone. Now there's actually a little hard piece here. This little piece here is, the silicone is hard because that was the first amount, so I'm just gonna take this out to the side of my plate. Okay, so now that I have this mixture, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take some of my cornstarch and place it into my mixture that I have there. Now with the cornstarch, I really don't use any measurements, so I'm just going to show you. I'm going to place some of my cornstarch, okay, on my plate. And what I like to do is I like to pat it down just so I can see it. Like I have a little hill here. Okay. I'm going to use this instead of my hands to do my mixing. All you're doing is taking your silicone, okay, I'm placing it into my cornstarch, and I'm folding the cornstarch onto my silicone, pressing it down, and it looks like your silicone will disappear, but don't worry, it will become a ball. Okay, this was the piece that's garbage, so I'm going to take that out, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to smash this, and the piece is right in here. I think you can see it. There's my piece of silicone. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my item, my utensil, and I'm going to smash it. So all I'm going to continue doing is folding it. Okay, you see what I'm doing here? I'm smashing it. What this is doing, it's flattening out the silicone, and it's allowing the cornstarch to get mixed in the middle. I just pour a little bit on top. I see my silicone here, and all I'm going to do is fold it over. you can actually move all of this out of the way because we won't need that. If we need some more later, we will use it. Now here's my silicone, and I'm going to fold it over. Do you see my mixture here? I know some people by this point would start to touch it with their hands. I don't like to because it will stick to your hands and it's very messy. Okay? So all I've been doing is pressing down my mixture that I have here and folding over to get my cornstarch into the silicone. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to touch it with my fingers. All I'm getting right now is cornstarch on my fingers. I want to try to not get any of the silicone on my hands because it becomes sticky. So you can see, don't press your silicone hard at all or it will get stuck to your fingers. What happens is the heat causes it to become more pliable and more gooey, causing it to stick to your hand. I put my wax paper down. You want to do this part on a flat surface so your mold is flat, especially when you begin to fill your mold with acrylic or gel. Okay, so I have my wax paper on my table. I'm just gonna move it. And if for whatever reason you mess up, like, don't worry about it, it's so inexpensive. So I have my piece down here. Okay, and you can see I have not wiped my hands. I have a little bit of a piece here that's stuck, but my hands are like super clean. Okay, so I have my piece here. What I like to do at this point is I want to make it as big as I can to fit as many pieces in. So all I'm going to do is take the palm of my hand here and I'm going to press down to flatten it a little bit. Again, this is the key to making it. I'm just flattening it. Okay, and you can even use your fingers. If you feel it's a little sticky there, you can put a little bit of, see it's sticking right now, I can take a little bit of my cornstarch and just powder it on it. Okay. I'm just flattening it out so I can put my pieces. Because I know these 3D bowls are not that deep, they're not that thick, so I really don't need the mold to be that thick. Okay, so I have it here. I just want to show you how it looks. You can see how nice and thin it is. Okay, and now is the time for the placement of your bowls. Again, I like to try to put as many pieces as I can in a mold. I'm going to take my piece here, and don't worry if the thicknesses are different. I'm going to show you how to place them. Like this one's thicker, definitely thicker, the red one. Okay, so I'm going to place my red one first. You always place your thicker ones down first in your mold. So I like to use the whole entire mold here. Okay, my product. I'm going to take it and I'm going to place it as close to the edge as I can and lightly press down. Okay, I'm going to show you how it looks. It's slightly into the mixture. Okay, I don't press it all the way in yet. And the key is, so you don't want your 3D items too deep into your mixture, into your mold, because then it doesn't lay right when it's on the nail. So I'm going to take my other one that's just like it's just a different color, and I'm going to place it next to it. You don't want them touching, because then when you try to put your acrylic, it will bleed into the next one. So I'm going to utilize my space, press it down slightly, and they're in there. Now I'm just going to continue placing in all my pieces, and this whole entire mold is going to be bows. Place it in. I'm just OCD, it's really easy to put it in. I just like to make sure I can put as many as I can. Okay, there. I'm gonna press it in slightly. I'm gonna put my next one. Okay, next. I'm telling y'all, I try to get as many pieces as I can, so when I do go to make some 3D pieces, 3D nail art, I don't have to pull so many different molds. Perfect. I have these little tiny ones here. Okay, you see I'm just placing them. They're not all the way in yet. This one's a little close, but I think we'll be okay. Alright, so I have all my pieces in. They're not pushed all the way in yet. The key that I'm going to do now is I'm going to slightly press them in to make sure that they're all almost close. That black one's a little close to that one, but it's okay. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the palm of my hand again and I'm going to press it so it kind of comes out even. All I did was press them in. Okay, and they're still not all the way in. You want them to be flush, kind of. Let me see if I can show you. You see how they're all sticking out just a little bit? Now this is the reason why I'm using them on a table. All I'm gonna do is take my wax paper, fold it over on top of it, okay? And I'm gonna flip this over. So now my 3D items are face down. And all I'm gonna do is press with my hand onto it very lightly. You don't want to put them too deep, but I do want them to be nice and flat. And this is the point that they're going to become, they're going to get all the impressions. I think one of these is too deep here, but we'll see when it hardens. Okay, flip it back over, and they look good. They're all in there pretty much. Okay, and what you can do, and you can probably see it here, is you see how there's this space right here next to this bow. What I like to do now is I like to squeeze the mold a little bit to make sure it gets in all the nooks and crannies of the piece. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The boyfriend Alex does know how to make these already too. Very easy. And that is how I make my colored homemade 3D molds. And this takes, I honestly let them sit for quite a while to set up. I've seen some people say that it takes about 2 hours, but I just usually let them sit like overnight. I'm not in a rush. Like, it's already late here, so I just let them set. And that's it. Let them harden. Literally, when you're ready, so you can see that they're nice and flush. You don't see them at all. You want to leave them flat. Let them harden on the surface flat, because if you twist the mold in any way, it will damage your mold, and then your 3D piece will not come out flat and even. So what was I gonna say? I let them harden, and literally when it is time to remove them, all you have to do is take out the pieces, take them out slowly, and voila, you have your molds. You store them, and when you're ready to create some homemade nail art, all you do is you put your acrylic in there, let it harden, and you have homemade 3D nail pieces. I hope this answered everyone's question. I hope you guys are able to use this tutorial and make your own. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment, like this video, share it, and have a great night. Remember, nails is fun. You don't have to be professional, but ask all the questions that you need to. Thanks for watching, and have a great one. It's Miss Angie signing out. Bye bye.